Alright, this is part 2 on how to remove the engine on this Toyota Sienna 2004-2010. It's exactly the same. This happens to be all-wheel drive. So let's go ahead and do it. 14mm nut right there, or bolt, whatever it is, for the exhaust pipe. That is the other nut right there. This is a 14mm bolt. And the O2 sensor. You go inside the vent and disconnect it from the inside the vent here, and that's where you disconnect the O2 sensor. You can see the hole right there. 17mm nut here for the outer tie rod, and 30mm axle nut right there. And that one right there is a 10mm bolt here. Empty, and the transmission fluid right there. 10mm bolt, Allen. 22mm bolts on this side and nut on this side. When you're prying out this axle, keep it on the air like this, in the air, because if it's resting on something, then you're gonna have a hard time. You might be prying it out really hard there, and you might be wondering what is going on. It's just because it's resting on something like that. So keep it on the air with a rope or something, whatever. This is a pry bar here, kind of long pry bar. Oops. I'm gonna lose these two bolts here to lose the belt, power steering pump. We have here 19mm nut. This is the bracket for the motor mount. 3 14mm nut here, 1 nut and 2 bolts. Right, and I'll come back later on. 30mm socket here. And we have a 12mm bolt. For a 22mm bolt, 2 bolts here and 2 nuts here. Alright, that was the 19mm nut here, and this is the driver's side, by the way. That's how it looks like so far. 17mm nut here for this motor mount. I'm gonna detach the drive shaft from the transfer case right there. 2 12mm bolts on that side, and other 2 on this side there, but one can be seen there, the other one cannot be seen. And I have a little more of space here because I have removed the exhaust pipe from here, as you can see. And have a bucket on the floor. Oil might spill on the floor, so. Oops, that's the oil right there. And now let's remove the drive shaft here from the rear to remove it from the transfer case. 14mm nut, and put a wrench, 14mm wrench on the other side right here, and use wobble adapters to remove the ones on top. Just put a mark right there, so if it comes back to the same place. If you switch the spot here, nothing happens, it's still the same, no difference. If it gets stuck, then you have to tap it over here. Don't tap it over here, this part is weak here, so very thin metal here, so just tap it with a hammer and it should pop out. And let's take a closer look here. This is the motor mount. I took out the nut right there. My suggestion is always apply penetrating oil. I mean, do this since the beginning so the penetrating oil can be working a little bit, because sometimes the engine gets stuck on the stud right there from the motor mount. A little bit of work to do on this side also. That's the motor mount, as you can see right there, penetrating oil. And the bracket 314mm bolt. Those bolts have to come out because the bracket has to come out. Don't take those bolts off until you have tightened the engine with the engine crane. And the power steering pump is still with the hoses. I'm gonna see if I can move the engine a little bit so I can have a better access. And the other motor mount right there and the rear, as you can see, the two bolts right there, they have to be taken out. Now you won't see the motor mount in the rear right there if your van is not all-wheel drive. This one is all-wheel drive. That's why with the transfer case it's a little more work. Alright, I'm gonna try to pull this engine out little by little. Passenger side here, I lift up the engine a little bit, and now I have access to that bolt right there, 14mm bolt. Time to remove this motor mount, 3 14mm nuts in the bottom. Alright, once you have the engine at that level right there, I have lifted up just a little bit, as you can see. And now it's time to remove this bolts from here. See, that one is 14mm bolt right there. The nuts, they come from here, 1 and 2 right there. And that one is a 19mm bolt right there. I don't know if it can be seen or not, but that is because of the frame, the subframe is dropping down from here. Once you do that, same on the other side. You got to do the same exactly on the other side. It's very easy. Alright, after I took out the motor mount from there, what happens is that the engine tilted that way, but that's how I want to take it out anyway. I tightened the nut here, the strap, just kind of calculating that it was gonna come like this and not like this. We're gonna have a closer look here and see the engine is tilting that way. I mean, declining like this, and also to the rear of the vehicle like this. Not like that, but like this. So when the engine is pulling out, it's pulling up, it's coming out at the same time. If you're gonna pull it out with a catalytic converter and also with the transfer case. But if not, the engine should come up kind of straight. This is the hose for the power steering fluid. You can see right there. It goes right there. And that's the fitting right there, 24mm fitting right there. I have to pull it out right now. That's for the hose here. See, it's still very loose, as you can see, but it's time to pull it out at this point. That's the catalytic converter right there. See, catalytic converter is kind of hitting the wall right there, but see, it's loose. See. So, and down there, a little bit lower, you're gonna see the shaft for the transfer case. You can see right there. So if you're gonna pull this engine like me with a catalytic converter and also with a transfer case, then the engine has to come out like this, not like that. So the key on this is how to tighten the straps right there. So for the engine to come like that, and at the same time like this, the way it is right now, but also like this. As you can see, don't try to pull it flat like this, because the transfer case will not come out. You see that it's out already, but it was beneath the rack and pinion before. 24mm wrench here. I'm gonna put it here beneath like this so it wouldn't turn. Take a look at the engine, how everything is going, and see from the subframe and the body right there, the frame. right there. That's how it looks right now so far. You can see you have to be careful right there with the windshield. And we come here on this side, and this the battery tray here almost was in the way, as you can see right there. And that is the engine on the floor right there, as you can see here. Just really quick here, going over some things really quick, some tricks. You have to avoid the battery tray here by crossing the getting the engine crook like this, as I did it. And these are the bolts here. This is all the space that this lower here, and you do that once the engine is on the way out. You don't take those bolts out since the beginning if you're gonna do it like me. You can pull out this engine without removing the front here, but if you remove the front, you have peace of mind working pulling out these engines, because it's very easy. You can stand up here to do a lot of stuff and work all around. You can even step on here, I mean, and you have more space. Now that's the motor mount right there, and you have to take that out if you're gonna do it like me. As I'm saying, everybody has a different way to do it. Another thing is, I already said this, but remember the shaft of the transfer case is between the rack and pinion and the subframe right there. On top there is the catalytic converter. I'm talking about this because that's how I pulled it out, with the rack and pinion with the transfer case. So if you're gonna do it this way, one more time, you have to pull out the engine this way like this and not like this. Obviously, if you try to pull it out like this, you won't be able to pull it out because of the catalytic converter and the shaft right there of the transfer case. So, but if you pull it out like this, every time you lift it up, it's coming out. You're lifting it up straight, but it's coming out like this, advancing to the front, coming to the front, until the shaft from the transfer case gets out of between the rack and pinion and the subframe right there, and at the driver's side, pulling it out like this too. The key is how to tighten the engine to pull it out. Now when you're pulling it out like this and also like this, because from both sides you have to be playing with it, what happens is that every time you pull out the engine up, it's coming out also to the front, because it's coming out like this. Also, avoiding this is kind of tricky, but you have to get the engine crooked like this. Also, another thing I want to mention is, do not take off this bolt at the beginning. Just take them off when the engine is on the way out. That's when you pull out those bolts right there from the subframe, and it lowers a lot. Now the next step is going to be tearing down this engine, since I gotta do partially rebuilding, like replacing the pistons, piston rings, connecting rod bearings, doing head gasket, timing belt, replacing the oil pump, and some stuff like that. Basically partially rebuilding. It's just taking advantage that the engine is out. I'll be showing everything with the manufacturer specifications, manufacturer measurements, everything with the software from Toyota. Thanks for watching this video, and stay blessed.